Hey guys, this is Luthais and welcome back. Today I am going to be bringing you a showcase of all the guns in Miscreated currently since the newest update 1.0.1. And what we're going to be starting off with today is me showing you how powerful it is to have a hand grenade or two on you, or maybe two pipe bombs. Hand grenade, of course, doing much more damage, so in this case we're going to be using a grenade as well as a pipe bomb on one of the strongest vehicles in Miscreated, which is of course the armor truck. So clearly the guy thought the mist was going to cover him, and he's probably collecting jerry cans. And just as he wants to drive off, it goes. Now at this point I wasn't sure if the engine stopped because he put it off. But yes, I'm thinking he's on the driver's side. And now I'm using the pipe bomb just to make sure. Aiming isn't brilliant, but I know the range is very wide. Look at my reaction now. Damn, this game is exciting. So yes guys, if the pipe bomb didn't kill him, the explosion of the vehicle definitely killed him. So yes, nice tip there for you guys. Well, starting with the first gun, we're starting with the MK22 pistol, which does 34 damage per bullet with a 30% chance of bleeding, and it can take up to 10 rounds. Now, this should be your last option. It's a nice kind of Russian gun, but as you can hear, not very exciting guys, and definitely your first weapon that you get damage wise. The second one is the 9mm pistol, which does 40 damage with a 50% chance of bleeding, and you can get a 10 round or a 19 round or a 33 round magazine, which makes it one of the favorite guns in previous updates. Excuse the shooting there. Third on the list, we've got the HK45 that does 48 damage, which is quite high with 100% bleeding damage, guys. So something to focus on. Not only does it do more damage than the 9mm, but it does 100% bleeding damage as well, which is very important. The only negative thing is it can only take 10 rounds. But still an extremely powerful weapon and a very good option to use. Next we're going to the M19, which also takes 45.45 ammunition, but the magazine can only take 7 bullets. But it's really a nice looking gun, so yeah, so really nice running around with it. And no, we shot the brute beforehand, so don't think that's the amount of bullets it takes to kill a brute. Next on the list is the revolver, the daddy of handguns, which does 51 damage with 100% bleeding. Okay, very powerful weapon. Recoil isn't too bad. And of course the most powerful, the only negative thing is that it takes 6 rounds. But still, the .357 rounds are the most powerful. Then we're sitting with a small little gun here called the Makarov. And it does 40 damage with a 50% chance of bleeding and takes 10 rounds. I looked for this gun for a very long time, and it was really funny to me on how small it was. So yes, since it's quite rare, we're basically just going to be using it to be specific. Then we're sitting with my favorite, which is the P350, which does 48 damage with 100% bleeding chance, and it can take a 14 round magazine, which is very, very important. It looks really, really great, and it does the same damage as a revolver, but the big thing is it can take 14 rounds and sounds fantastic. So definitely one of my favorites. The AP85 does 41 damage with a 50% chance of bleeding, but it can take a 19 round magazine, which also makes it a good option. And it does a bit more damage than the 9mm. And again, the new guns sound way better, guys. So that's definitely one option to get the new guns. Sounds ridiculous. The M9A1 is extremely rare. Does 42 damage with a 50% chance of bleeding. And it can take up to 15 rounds. And yes, definitely one of the coolest looking guns. And again, you're going for the sound. Absolutely ridiculously cool, but very rare as well. The PX4, standard .45 gun with 48 damage and a 100% bleeding like always, and it takes 10 rounds. So nothing fantastic, but again, we love those new sounds. The new gun sounds are absolutely fantastic. Then we're sitting with a recurve bow, which does 48 damage with each arrow. The most important thing here, guys, is that you can put an optic on it. You can get the crafted bow as well, which you can't put an optic on. And even with a sight, the bow is a bit unpredictable with the arrow drop. But the biggest thing is it bypasses any armor, okay? So any flak vest, any helmet won't help against this damage. So it's a great silent killer. Same with the crossbow, which does 4 more damage, but a bit less bleeding chance of 20. And it only takes 5 bolts. But again, remember it's silent and it bypasses all armor, which again makes it a fantastic option for anyone who wants to be a stealth killer and give himself a challenge. The Tranquilizer gun used to be one of my favorites when it came out. It doesn't do any damage, but it hits a person for 75% torpidity, which means if you hit any player twice in the body, he passes out. And if you hit him once in the head, he'll pass out as well, giving you a chance to tie him up, take his loot and not kill him. Okay? And it helps a lot for a lot of role-playing situations, which makes it a great option. Again, just like the pistols, we're starting off with the worst rifle here, the .22 Wasteland. And yes, the Wasteland does 36 damage, 30% bleeding chance with 10 rounds. And again, good for mutants, hitting mutants in the head. Unfortunately, helmets and flak vests do have armor against the .22 ammo, so not a great option. The 870 tactical shotgun is a fantastic option for vehicles. I've blown up vehicles with 2 buckshots to the bonnet, and it does 20 damage with a buckshot each pellet and 85 with the slug, guys. 85 damage with the slug. Okay, very, very important. And of course, with the buckshot, you can spray and pray, and it's very effective against vehicles. Then we're sitting with a Thor. There are no damage stats for it, and I haven't used it a lot, but the people that have used it said it's a bit frustrating with the distance. Basically like any shotgun, but it is an automatic shotgun, which makes it a very, very nice option. It's just in the looks department, you know, it doesn't impress me much, but yes, also quite rare. Then one of my favorite SMGs is the MP55, and I'll tell you guys why. It does 49 damage with each round with a 70% bleeding chance. It's only got one attachment, which is the negative thing, but it takes 30 rounds. So this is a fantastic gun for close range and medium range. With, of course, 30 rounds, the iron sight is really nice and accurate, and the recoil is not too bad on it at all. Then we're sitting with the Vector. The positive things about the Vector is that it's got 4 attachment slots, so it can take the vertical grip, which really is helpful for recoil. And it does 49 damage with 70. Of course, it takes the 10mm rounds, so it's more or less the same. And then, of course, like I said, you can put the vertical grip on it, and it's going to help you a heck of a lot with vertical recoil. And it does about 612 damage per second, which is a very high rate. Then we've got the AMP, again 10mm, same damage, 49 with 100% bleeding, 30 rounds, which makes it really cool, and it can take 5 attachments, one more than the Vector, which makes it better than the MP5. And at the moment, with the new update, if you've got all the attachments on, guys, there's really nothing that compares to it SMG wise. Then we've got the A74U, which does 52 damage with 100% bleeding chance, but again, no attachments, guys. So it's just like the AK. The only difference is it does 18 points less damage than the AK. And yes, I'd say a bit less rare than the AK, but yes. Next we're sitting with the CX8, which does 49 damage with 100 bleeding with 4 attachments. A nice gun, quite rare, and you can put the attachments on it, but there's no rate of fire change. So yes, looks great, sounds cool, but the ARs are a much better option for me. Now we're sitting with the best close range gun you can get, which is the assault rifle. You can see how quickly it kills a brute, and the unique gun is called the Dictator, which does 80 damage per bullet, and its DPS, damage per second, is 760, which is the highest in the game. But even a standard AK does 70 damage with 420 per second. Now we're coming to two of the guns that I use a lot, which is the Mod 16. And the Mod 16 does 56 damage with 100% bleeding chance. But the thing about the Mod 16 and the AT-15 is that they've got great iron sights, and they can take all the attachments. So that means they can take a vertical grip, suppressor, everything, guys. So the recoil on it is really, really great for single shots. So yes, the best thing about the Mod 16 and the 80 for me is that it can take all the attachments, which makes it, in my opinion, with the ammo not being too scarce, it makes it a really, really great option for any player. As you can see, it's got it's got all the attachments on it with a vertical grip. And yes, like I said, it's a really, really good option. Then we're sitting with the R90, which most of you might think does the highest DPS, but it only does 40 damage with a 100% bleeding chance, but it only does 466 damage per second. Okay, it looks really cool. Negative thing is, just like the M40, it's got no iron sight, which makes it very difficult. You need to get a red dot or optic for this gun, and it's got a very nice firing rate, but that's about it. And that is why the Reaver, which is a glorified DDMK-18, which does 2 less damage than most ARs, but it's got an automatic feature. And that automatic feature, my friends, puts us on 560 DPS, which is literally 100 damage per second higher than the P90. So it's absolutely my favorite close range gun, and it doesn't take all the attachments, so you can't put the vertical grip on it, but it can take all the attachments except the vertical grip. Then we're sitting with another new feature, the Bulldog. Like all the ARs, 5.56 ammunition, and it's got single and burst. So yes, sounds really beefy, but not a really practical option. Then we're sitting with the Carlington, which is your first sniper rifle option. Does 55 damage per bullet and 100 bleeding chance. And you can take 10 ammunition, like most of or all the .308 sniper rifles. Takes a bit of time to load, but it can take a hunting scope. So it's a great option, and you can kill anyone with one headshot. And then we're sitting with a hunting rifle, which does 80 damage with 100 bleeding chance. And it does the same, this rifle does the same damage as the A-Core and the M40. And if you don't find the A-Core or the M40, in my opinion, the hunting rifle is a better option for me than the Renegade. It just looks much cooler, and you feel much more like a hunter. This is the Renegade. Again, the Renegade does 80 damage with 100% bleeding chance, and 10, you can put 10 rounds in it. And again, all these rifles are great options, guys. So the only thing is that the Carlington does less damage, but all of them take hunting scopes. And yes, you'll just have to decide between the hunting and the Renegade, which is your favorite. Now here we don't have to decide, okay? The M40A5 is by far the most superior sniper rifle in the game. Not only for the damage, but for the bullet penetration. Since it takes 7.62 ammunition, it can penetrate a police vehicle's front window as well as a armored truck's front window. And the only other gun that does that is the AK. Okay? So it's one thing to keep in mind. The other thing is it's the only sniper rifle in the game that can take a suppressor. Which at long range, guys, is absolutely priceless. Because at a certain distance, no one will hear you shooting at them. They'll only hear the bullets flying past them. And, it will be too late by the time they know where you're shooting from. Unless they get into cover really, really quickly. But it's absolutely superior in the sniper table. At the moment, I'm starting to use the ACAW, the A-Core, for 2 reasons. The first and most important reason for me is it sounds absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I've been using the M40 for a few years now. And just listen to this. Yeah, I don't have to say anything else, guys. The other thing is that the scope, when you look down the scope, you will see it gives you a much bigger viewing range than the M40. So if you go back in the video, you'll see that the M40's view on the scope is much smaller than the A-Core, which is the second reason why I'm starting to use this gun. And I'm sacrificing the suppressor, of course, but it's still a heck of a lot of fun. And then the big daddy boys, the M249, which I found at the top checkpoint on one of the desks. And yes, first time ever that I found this rifle, but I must say it's a beast. Okay, It does 60 damage per bullet. Fires 556, but it does 60 damage, which is 4 more per shot. 100% bleeding chance, and on its normal automatic, it does 676 damage per second, guys, which is the highest except for the Dictator, the unique AK assault rifle, which does 760 with almost no recoil. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made you excited. For any of you that is wondering about coming back, I hope this game gives you a great reason to come back and just see how the developers are working on the game and improving the guns as well as the gun sounds. And yes, there are crafted weapons or crafted variances of all the weapons, which I don't want to cover because I don't want to make the video too long. But in any case, if you enjoyed it, click that like button. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button and then just click that bell button as well to be notified of future videos. I'll see you guys next time. And in my opinion, have fun shooting the crap out of everything, guys. This is Luthais. Cheers.